Good morning, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu for the Nintendo Switch. Yes, that's right, I'm doing the Pikachu edition. I didn't feel like buying two versions of the same game, which I always thought was a stupid trend in Pokemon. This is actually the very first core Pokemon game that I've completed. So, my views may be kinda on the more negative side because I'm not used to the series, but I am going to try my best to give this a fair evaluation. Suffice to say that, in my opinion, the best parts of this game were this amazing opening, like this almost photorealistic approach to breaking the fourth wall that you're playing a Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. The game has incredible music with some absolutely stunning violin pieces. And the final battle is pretty satisfying because it tests everything you know in an actually fun way. But apart from that, this feels like a 1998 game that has hardly been updated except for really the presentation. And overall, it just, for the most part, got really, really annoying. So first off, let's start with the basics. So, you're an aspiring Pokemon trainer that's gathering these monsters, which apparently Pokemon is a combination of pocket and monster. And some people use them as pets, but in your case, you use them as your main weapons against other trainers, because you're too young to wield a sword or a gun or anything like that, so instead you just rely on the animals to do all the work for you. They never actually die, they just somehow faint. Because, yeah, you can get burned up by an inferno, and somehow that still only causes them to faint. Pokemon logic. Gotta love it. When you're battling, you have to keep in mind the rock, paper, scissors effect, where, say, water beats electricity, fire beats grass. Most of the time it's pretty logical, but every now and then they really get far-fetched, like ground beating dark. I don't know how that works in real-life physics. And then your Pokemon level up based on how much they do in battle, although Pokemon that are inside your waiting party, which you can have up to 6, besides Pikachu, who always has to be with you. And that's about it. You really just travel along a semi-non-linear map to find 6 or 8 gyms, and then you prove yourself in this gauntlet of challenges against the best of the best, and then once you get all the badges, then you take on the Pokemon League, and that's the entire story. There's some Team Rocket shenanigans where they're trying to use the Pokemon for no good, but overall it's a very bland narrative that's only saved, or should I say broken even more, by its absolutely incessant writing. Not that the writing itself is bad, it's just that there's way, way too much of it. The game just never wants to shut up. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, you don't need to tell me every single little thing. Here's a little example of how I felt with all this incessant chattering. Roll the skit. Paul is thirsty. Paul takes a drink of water. It tastes so good. It's super effective at easing him of his thirst. Paul combs his hair. It's not very effective. He lost half of the female subscribers. Paul groans in defeat. And as a result, the game just drags on and on when it's just like, okay, I get it already. Now, some of the stuff is, good to know, like if something is super effective or not, which basically means that they're more effective than others. That's something that you need to know, but do I really need to know when the description for a potion says that it'll refill 20 health, that I just got 20 health? It almost seems kind of redundant. And it also slows down the action considerably, especially because the music gets cut off when you do one of these things. Paul edits a section of his video. He wonders if that'll increase audience. Alright, I get it. Sheesh, can't this game leave me alone? And we haven't even started on what makes this so dated. First off, the controls feel like they weren't 100% optimized for fully directional movement. A lot of times I tried going to the left and it would make my character go into a walk. So I'd have to go diagonally to the left if I wanted to go to the left. Then when I booted up a new save file, that didn't happen. Then there's also the fact that when you encounter a Pokemon, with the exception of Pikachu and Eevee, they do Game Boy-esque shrieks. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that this is powerful enough where you can do actual Pokemon cries. Like, even Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64 did that. Like, why can't this game do that? It just seems like a lazy design choice. Also, the writing feels so generic and childlike, and I get that that's the point, but I kind of wish they would have done a little bit more, like maybe added a new story arc, or had a couple of scenes or an extra difficulty where it's called, adult mode, something like that. It just feels like they're treating us like we've never played a video game before, and I wish there was an option to, forego that. Speaking of options, the options are pretty generous. They give you the ability to turn up the music and get rid of the Pokemon cries so that you don't have to hear when you get Onix. Like, seriously, it gets that annoying. Also, I don't know, there's just something so archaic about the battle system and what the game is trying to do. It feels like there's a lot of random chaos that tries not to be random because you can find out the accuracy of a move before you do it, but then it also tells you how powerful it is. But yet, you don't battle in numbers. You battle in how far down the percentage bar goes. So there's a lot of guesswork involved as far as, okay, exactly how much damage is this going to do? In games like Paper Mario, you would have numbers appearing on the screen that would say you did 4 points of damage. The opponent has 10 points of health. So that was easy to figure out. Also, when you go into your menu for Pokemon, all of the Pokemon are pixelated, and you have to select them in order to make them actually appear in a 3D format. Now, as you're seeing right here, one of the additions is that you can pet Pikachu with the Joy-Cons, or if you're playing on the touchscreen, which was the way that I played most of the time. Contrary to popular belief, you don't actually have to use your finger to toss Pokeballs, because one other addition is incorporating aspects from Pokemon Go, where when you encounter a wild Pokemon, instead of battling them enough to weaken them, you just toss a Pokeball at them and hope that you get as close to a small ring as possible. The color of the ring determines how hard it is to capture the Pokemon. But this feels like kind of a pointless system because, again, it's a very vague guesswork. When it's green, it means it's easy to catch them, but it doesn't say how easy. There's no percentages. There's no additional skill level. It's still easy enough to throw the Pokeball, but when it's a darker shade of orange, that just means that the Pokemon has more chances of escaping. And it's like, okay, so why is it hard? Maybe for a future game, they should make it so that, say, the Pokemon has more artificial intelligence and dodges your Pokeballs more efficiently. And I could go on and on and on about why I found this game incredibly frustrating, but as I went along, there were gradually introduced bits of strategy to the mix. When I would face a gym leader, for example, I'd have to take into account, okay, they're throwing out a new Pokemon, and I can't just use Pikachu for everything. So let's see if I can find the optimal Pokemon for the optimal battle. In addition, I like how you can skip past random battles, in fact there are no random battles, and just walk around Pokemon that you don't want to face, And while trainers will automatically battle you if they lay eyes on you on the field, there's a lot of them that you can just step around if you don't want to battle. This game also doesn't require you to grind all that much. You're pretty much set to tackle the bosses if you just, do every battle against a trainer that's in your way. So I appreciate that they didn't have me backtracking over and over again just to make sure that I have enough experience. And in fact, I think the lack of grinding actually made the final encounter more epic, because I felt like this guy was an overwhelming match for me, and I was like, yeah, baby, I just defeated all of the odds, and it's a very satisfying feeling. Now, one thing I'm going to say that I wasn't terribly upset about, that other reviewers have complained, is that they say, why is the world map grid for grid exactly like Pokemon Yellow, just in this behind the shoulder perspective? To which I respond, it doesn't bother me that much. I mean, sure, the level design definitely does feel dated, but the fact that it's on ledges that surprisingly the kid is too short to climb up, even though the ledge clearly goes up to his knee, it's not really a detriment to the game all that much. Like, there were very few instances where I felt like the amount of ledges sort of ruined the experience for me. And because some of my footage got deleted, I'm going to stop here, but I think you get the basic idea. Basically, all Pokemon does is you battle, you try to become the supreme Pokemon leader, you battle some more. Exploration is super boring, and with the exception of great music, it's kind of just a quick cash grab. With that, thank you for watching. Until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and
Wait a second, Paul. You can't come from a newbie perspective. You need a Pokemon fan to keep you level-headed.
Oh hey, Emily, that's a great idea. I think some of the viewers might have just turned this game off because I may have come across as too much of a negative Nancy because of my lack of knowledge. Would you like to share with them some of your thoughts and opinions, and then the audience can make up their mind based on both of our thoughts?
Oh, I'd love to. Let's begin. So, I also played Let's Go Pikachu, and as a Pokemon fan, I absolutely loved it. Here are my thoughts. Like Paul said, the music in the game is absolutely beautiful and just so nostalgic. So, if you played Pokemon Leaf Green like I did, or Fire Red, it is definitely a trip down memory lane. And the graphics are just amazing. Like Paul, I was also blown away by the 3D opening. Just fantastic. I also like how it is easier to catch the legendaries like Moltres and Articuno, as well as acquire the starter Pokemon like Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Charmander, because that makes it so much easier to collect them all. Another thing I love is that there's no random encounters, so you can just walk around Pokemon that you don't want to face. I think this is a really nice change. However, I do wish that there was a more fleshed out plot. It's very interesting how Paul put it. A 1998 game with upgraded graphics. Pretty much. I wish that there was maybe a new story arc, like expanding upon Team Rocket's story, because with this game I wasn't really engaged in the story. It was more just trying to level up my Pokemon. I wish there was more story and less battling. Also, this game is extremely easy. I had no problem whatsoever defeating the gym leaders, and I even caught Moltres in one shot. I wish that they could have added maybe a normal or a hard mode just to add more challenge to it, but because of that, it's so easy to collect all the Pokemon. So if you're wondering to pick this up or not, I guess it depends on what you're looking for in a Pokemon game. Whether it be a fleshed out story like that of Pokemon Black or Pokemon X, or if you just want to catch them all. Overall, I think this is a very well done remake of a beloved game. And it is worth buying, however, do not expect it to be like a main series Pokemon RPG. Thank you again so much to the Catholic Nintendo Nerd for including me in this collab. It was a lot of fun to film and deck out my desk like this. This was Miss Nekotendo, and until next time, game on!